For well over 3,000 years, Homer's Odyssey has functioned as an untouchable, foundational epic of Western literature. It is a story of survival and homecoming that has outlasted empires. Recently, rumors surfaced that director Christopher Nolan is adapting the epic for the screen, specifically using a 2017 translation that has reignited a massive cultural firestorm. That translation belongs to Dr. Emily Wilson. Her version has become a lightning rod for critics who claim she is actively destroying a classic. Online critics accuse Wilson of wokeifying the text, emasculating the hero Odysseus, and intentionally stripping the epic of its sophisticated vocabulary. This backlash relies on the belief that a perfectly objective, literal translation exists. However, measuring Wilson's work against the raw Greek reveals the hidden politics that every translator brings to the table. Ancient Greek vocabulary and syntax are notoriously resistant to modern English. Because the nuances of the language don't map cleanly onto our own, every translation is, by necessity, an interpretation. We see this struggle in the very first lines of the Odyssey, centered on the Greek word polytropos, which Homer uses to describe his protagonist. This diagram shows how traditional translators handled the term. Robert Fagles chose the phrase "man of twists and turns," while Robert Fitzgerald translated it as "skilled in all ways of contending." Wilson's choice for the exact same word is complicated. To her critics, this was proof of an intentional dumbing down of the source material. Wilson operated under a self-imposed architectural constraint. She restricted herself to matching the exact 12,110 lines of the original Greek, while maintaining a strict English meter. This rigid rhythmic boundary physically limits her word choice. Where previous translators used flowery phrases breaking the meter, Wilson chose a sparser vocabulary. The directness of Wilson's Odyssey is a consequence of solving this musical and mathematical puzzle, prioritizing the rhythm of a text meant for oral performance. The investigation takes a more serious turn in Book 22, which depicts the brutal execution of the enslaved women in Odysseus's household. Many revered translators from the 1990s used aggressive modern slurs like slut and whore to describe these women. There is no ancient Greek equivalent for these specific slurs in Homer's original text. They are modern inventions. Fagles further influenced the reader's perception by using language that implies these enslaved women actively relished and consented to the suitor's advances, an interpretation that colors the tragedy with victim blaming. Wilson translates the term simply as girls, reflecting the historical reality that enslaved workers lacked the agency to provide consent. Wilson's removal of these slurs returns the text to its Greek roots, stripping away the layers of modern male bias that defined previous interpretations for decades. This brings us back to the demographic of men leading the vitriolic attack against Wilson's scholarship. These critics never accused Robert Fagles of making a biased, male-coded translation when he inserted modern slurs that weren't in the original Greek. His deviations from the source were accepted as the standard. The focus of this outrage, attacking a woman for linguistic literalism while ignoring men for blatant fabrication, reveals a deep attachment to translations that validate the critic's own modern prejudices. Because the original author is lost to history, readers must accept a degree of ambiguity. Every translation is a product of its era, reflecting the values of the world it was written in. Comparing these diverse versions enriches our understanding of the epic. It forces us to confront the invisible politics we bring to the stories we tell, and reminds us that every generation recreates Homer in its own image.